If you've been scrambling to meet the BOI reporting deadlines or wondering what happens if you don't file, there's some breaking news I'm going to discuss here. FinCen just canceled the BOI filing report for 2024. And in this video, I'll break down what led to this and what it means for you, FinCen's response, what might happen next, whether it's safe to hit the pause button on your BOI filing, and what my advice is to do now. The Corporate Transparency Act, or CTA for short, requires companies like yours to file beneficial ownership information reports with the government. But a recent federal court ruling has halted FinCen from requiring the BOI nationwide, throwing compliance into question. This isn't just a temporary pause, it's part of a much larger legal and political battle that could reshape how this law is enforced, or really if the law survives at all. As a business lawyer, I've gone through the CTA, court rulings, agency statements, and legal opinions to give you and my clients the clearest, most actionable insights on how this ruling impacts your reporting obligations and what you need to do now to protect your business. This all started with a lawsuit in Texas where plaintiffs argued that the Corporate Transparency Act overstepped Congress's authority. The court agreed, issuing a nationwide preliminary injunction that ordered FinCen to pause all BOI reporting obligations. A preliminary injunction is really just a pause button ordered by a court before a final decision happens. It's super important to understand that this isn't final. So when you see everyone on YouTube telling you the court said that the BOI reporting is unconstitutional, it's not true. This ruling just says that FinCen can't require the BOI for the time being because the plaintiffs will likely win the case. And if the BOI is not paused now, the plaintiffs or companies like you will suffer harm that can't be fixed later. The harm is worse than any inconvenience of not filing the BOI report now, and the pause supports the public's interest as a whole. But what does that mean really? Well, right now, no company is legally required to file their BOI report with FinCen, and you will face any penalties for not doing so, at least for the time being. But here's the kicker. The Department of Justice, or DOJ for short, on behalf of FinCen has already filed an appeal. So this could change really quickly. What does this actually mean for you and your business? Well, it depends on whether you already prepared or even filed your BOI report. If you haven't filed yet, you're off the hook for now, but don't ignore this completely. Legal battles like this can flip on a dime and have on this law itself back in April. The last thing you want is to be unprepared if the reporting requirements are reinstated. If you've already filed, the ruling doesn't undo what you've submitted. It just pauses any additional filings or updates you may need. However, it's smart to keep your information up to date in case these requirements resume quickly. And here's a pro tip. Always monitor updates with FinCen and your lawyer to stay ahead of any changes. So let's talk about what could happen next. Well, the DOJ is fighting this ruling, and FinCen has made it clear they're going to comply with the court order for now, stating that reporting companies are not currently required to file their beneficial ownership information with FinCen and will not be subject to liability if they fail to do so while this preliminary injunction remains in effect. Nevertheless, reporting companies may continue to voluntarily submit their BOI reports with FinCen. But here's the thing. There are multiple lawsuits challenging the CTA across the country. Some courts have upheld the law. Others, like this one in Texas, have paused it. So the Texas ruling could be overturned, requiring you to file your BOI report. FinCen issued a statement saying that the government continues to believe, consistent with the conclusions of the U.S. District Courts for the Eastern District of Virginia and District of Oregon, that the CTA is constitutional. Add to that a growing number of critics, including members of Congress, who are pushing to delay or even revise the CTA entirely. It's possible we'll see significant changes to the BOI reporting rules under the next administration, especially as more businesses voice concerns about the complexity and intrusiveness of these requirements. So what should you do while this all plays out? Well, here's my advice. Follow the updates. Monitor announcements from FinCen and legal updates about the CTA. Things can change really fast and you don't want to be caught off guard. Talk to a lawyer. If you're unsure about your obligations, now is the time to consult with an attorney. I've helped hundreds of business owners navigate compliance challenges like this, and I can't stress enough how valuable tailored advice for you can be in these situations. And even though reporting is paused, Keep assessing your obligations and preparing your BOI reports if you haven't done so already. Your situation is different than everyone else's. It's better to have them ready than scramble if the rules are reinstated. And if you don't want to worry about wasting the time monitoring, which I advise most of my clients to do, get your BOI filed the right way in 5 minutes, which I show you how to do in this video here.